Speaking of enemies to society.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to run through this real quick here. There was Washington Post. They're getting some real heat from us this episode. Washington Post. They posted an article on Wednesday called 7 Ways a Recession Could Be Good for You Financially. Isn't that nice? You know, first they called us liars. They called us conspiracy theorists for saying we're in a recession. Now, Washington Post, 7 ways recession could be good for you financially. Yeah. Now, just to make a quick point, I'm going to run through these, and I spent some time putting together actual sources, actual content, actual research into debunking these 7 things. After I did that, I saw an article go by from Fox, and the headline of this Fox article is Washington Post torched for touting 7 ways recession could be good for you. Embarrassing propaganda. Oh. I thought, oh my gosh, did I just do all the work over again that Fox already did? Let's go look at it. No, folks, this is why you come to Canary Cry NewsTalk, because I thought for a second, my heart sunk that I repeated work that didn't need to be done. And, Fox did it. Fox did it before me. Why did I spend all this time? I read this Fox article. They don't give one source, one rebuttal, one piece of actual data to rebut the Washington Post's article. It's just a boxing match. They just go through and say, isn't Washington Post stupid? Look at all these things they said. They're so stupid. We all know it's not true, but gave no sources, put no work into it whatsoever, folks. So that's what we're talking about. If you're on our newsletter list, you got all our sources. I actually put the work into debunking these things. We're kind of running short on time, so I'm going to breeze through it. But just so everybody knows, we put in more work into this show than Fox News does. So,
and they get paid a lot more.
And they get paid way more than we do. So Thanks a lot for being here, and thanks for producing the show. All right. So the 7 reasons why a recession is good for you. I'm not going to read anything. I'm just going to start going through the list. First, housing prices may finally come down to reasonable levels. So they're saying because there's a recession, housing prices are going to come down. Well,
come down. That's could be disastrous.
Yeah, right. Head over to Insider. They just posted this analysis. It's done. This was today. They just posted this. Sorry, millennials, you're never getting a good home. And it's a breakdown specifically of the millennial generation and like how we got so screwed our entire lives, just based on world events that have nothing to do with us. But there was this data in here, this quote here. What millennials really need is more housing supply, but that won't come quickly. So the Washington Post article says the average rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage jumped to 6.7% this week, according to data released by Freddie Mac. Higher mortgage rates may result in sellers in many markets lowering their asking prices so that buyers can qualify for loans. With cheaper loans gone, there will be fewer bidding wars to drive up home prices. Well, that's not what the actual data says. It's been stated over and over and over that higher interest rates don't bring down home prices. And here's a quote from the Insider article. What millennials really need is more housing supply, but that won't come quickly. The reality is the Fed's method of achieving that housing correction, hiking up interest rates, aims to bring down demand for homes, not increase supply. And it gave the data about how houses being built during millennials' coming of age years in the past 10 years, we are building half as many homes as we were in the 80s and 90s. So there's just simply not as many homes. And they go through a lot of the data. You can read the whole thing yourself as to why the idea that raising interest rates will make house pricing cheaper is a complete fantasy and lie from the government. So there you go. Number one, debunked. Housing prices will not come down due to the recession. Well, it won't come down enough to make a difference. The second one, where is my list? There it is. Savings rates are up. At least one bright side of the Federal Reserve raising rates to fight inflation is banks are paying people more to hold their money. My credit union has a special 20-month offer on a certificate that would pay me 33% annual percentage yield.
That's pretty good. 3%'s a lot.
You got to buy their certificate there, Gons. Yeah. Now, if anybody has been paying attention at all, you know that savings accounts are the number one. Well, besides putting cash under your mattress, savings accounts are the number one worst ways to fight inflation. And not only that, but if you're in a recession, everything is more expensive and you're not making enough money. You're not saving any money to earn on. The Economist here, headline, this is from earlier this year. Americans are saving less than at any point since the financial crisis. So higher interest rates on your savings accounts mean nothing if you don't have any money to save. In fact, some might say that the whole recession is built to drain any savings anybody may have built up over the COVID period. And on top of that, credit debt is higher than it's been in like 50 years. So yeah, nobody's taking advantage of your couple more dollars. Honestly,
yeah,
these savings accounts do nothing. You make like $10 a year on these savings accounts. I was going to say,
the only people benefiting from 3%, which is high. Most, like my account says I think I got a letter that said, "Hey, we're raising it from 0.27 to 0.3. Hey, you're earning more now."
You'd have to be
like making like $5 million in your savings account to be like, I got some extra thousands.
Yeah. And to even notice, you would need like $5 million in that account. Okay, so that's debunked. Number 2, debunked. Number 3, they talk about I bonds, independent bonds. This is kind of complicated. I don't know if we have the time to go through it. So he's talking about bonds will be a good idea. Well, let me pull it up here. Where is it?
Yeah, I bonds.
The inflation rate might go even higher. So right now you can buy a bond and they brag that until the end of October, the bonds are paying 9.62%. Okay, so you can buy these bonds
and break even.
The problem is that, they call it a fixed interest rate, but this quote unquote fixed rate for these bonds changes every 6 months.
Then how is it fixed?
When they say it's fixed, they mean it's fixed for 6 months, and then they change it to whatever they want.
Oh my gosh!
On top of that, you have a limit. You got to put in 10 grand, or you can put up to 10 grand in these bonds per person. You can buy.
First off, who's got extra 10 grand laying around?
Right.
To put into bonds, but also.
And again, to make any real money on 10%, you're going to want at least 10 grand. Like anything less than 10 grand, you need the cash. You need to hold the bonds for 12 months. And if they sell the bonds before 5 years, you lose 3 months of interest. You must hold the bonds for 5 years.
That's ridiculous.
5 years to collect the actual interest that you're owed
without losing 3 months worth. So if you pull out at 4 years and a half, you're losing 3. Yeah, this is ridiculous. So
during a recession, you got to have an extra $10,000, not just to maybe buy some cryptocurrency that you could sell if you need the cash. No, you are putting it in an illiquid asset where you have $10,000 extra dollars that you don't want any access to for 5 years. Cool. That sounds exactly the situation America's in during this recession. Okay, number 3 debunked. Number 4, the dollar is doing well against foreign currency. They literally say the dollar is king, although a lot is in flux. If you have plans to travel overseas, yeah, we're all planning to travel overseas during a recession and a war. Your dollar may, well, I might travel overseas, we'll see, but your dollar may go a lot further. This week, the British pound fell to an all-time low.
Yeah, I was going to say the DXY, which is the dollar index, has been kind of going, it's been going up and down, but overall it's been going up recently. And it's because all the other currency, it's not that the dollar is actually being worth more. Right. It's all the other currencies that it's compared against is way down. So what they're basically saying is the dollar's not as bad as everybody else who's being crushed. So yeah, dollar is king.
And we didn't even report on that, but over this last weekend, every single currency in the world dropped against the dollar. It was crazy. It was really crazy.
No, I mean, our gas prices around here went up $1, like a literal dollar within like a day and a half.
And that has nothing to do with a recession. That's not even, the whole point is that the foreign exchange rate to the dollar has nothing to do with a domestic recession. I don't even know why it's on this list. It's a straw man. It's a fake comparison.
It's a good thing. This is why it's dollar's king. It's good. See, look at the recession doing us some good. Check it out.
Number 5 is unemployment is still relatively low. Okay, don't know what that has to do with the recession, but okay. New York Post, inflation erasing wage gains, forcing pay cuts for American workers. Sure, you might have a job, but it's paying less than these jobs ever have.
Just anybody who's just kept the same job in the last year and a half is making
you're making less than you ever have. 6, this one is great. Your used car is worth more. If you're looking, if you're looking to upgrade to a newer car that you can't get because we don't have microchips and nobody's manufacturing cars, and your car is in fairly good condition, you'll get more for the trade-in. Used car and truck prices have jumped 7.8%, according to the latest data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Unfortunately, new car prices were up 10% from a year ago. They self-debunked their own point. Washington Post is not even trying. They're putting things in here that have nothing to do with the recession. They're debunking their own point by the end here. I think somebody was just tired. And then the 7th one.
Hold on. So they're basically saying, hey, good news. Your used car is worth 7.8% more.
But
you can buy a new car, but it's going to cost you an extra 2.2% than what you're the amount.
I don't even know why they even put it in there. They debunked themselves. Number 7 is student loan forgiveness is coming.
Oh, yeah.
And that just kind of gave me a good reason to bring this other article in here. Everybody's all hyped about the student loan forgiveness.
Yeah, Joe's going to do it, man.
Posted today in yesterday, Biden administration scales back student debt relief for millions amid legal concerns.
What are you talking about?
He started rolling them back. Now only some people get it. Yeah, it turns out that the president realized that when a private company loans a student money, the president can't just walk up and say, "Oh, you don't owe that private company their money." Yeah. He basically did this thing where now this isn't all of it. This is just the loans held by private companies. They started suing him, and basically what he did, if you have a lemonade stand, folks, and you're selling lemonade on the street, that's great. You're an entrepreneur. You're living the American dream. You're selling lemonade. Well, Joe Biden walked up to that lemonade stand and said, hey, you got to give everybody this lemonade for free now. Okay, are you going to pay for it? Is anybody going to pay for it? No. Just free lemonade. So I think I'm going to sue you now, President Biden. Is
this not a way to try to drain the private lending these
exactly. Exactly. It was an
lenders.
attack. It's an attack on private business.
Yeah.
He was simply just telling people with no plan to actually pay the private lenders back, just telling people not to pay their lenders. And that's obviously illegal. So he's rolling it back.
This works. Yeah.
Now, it's not everybody. It's 2 million lenders out of the, I think, 40 million lenders or something. So still, if the money came from the federal government, he can forgive it still. But if it didn't come from the federal government, he can't forgive it.
So, but this is a reason the recession is good for me.
Yeah,
I was wanting to know why the recession is good for me.
Recession is good because 7. Sleepy Joe is don't worry about it. It's all free, folks. This is how the recession is good for you. Anyways, it's all ridiculous. We knew it was ridiculous. Everybody knew it was ridiculous. But if you want actual sources and, especially if you're having conversations with your, family, your friends who are trying to convince you that you're an evil capitalist for having a problem with this, just head on over to canarycry.party, sign up for the newsletter, get these sources. This is what some people get about this show, is that this is supposed to be equipping you for your own life, in your own conversations, your own decisions. And not everybody has to take advantage of it, but if you're smart, you will. Go sign up for the newsletter.